On this month's episode of The Local Click, we welcome Stan Vaught from Lascassas Self-Storage, as well as Zach Tucker from Cannon County High School and some of his students from his public relations and advertising class. So stay tuned. It's going to be a fun show.
Learn more about fun local events and interesting people throughout the heart of Middle Tennessee, with a dash of everyday tech talk thrown in for good measure. The Local Click starts now.
Welcome, everyone, to The Local Click. The Local Click is the technology-based podcast brought to you by DTC Communications each and every month, where we talk all things technology and local people. And back with me again this month for the October episode is Mr. Justin Malden. Hello, Justin. How are you doing this month?
Living the dream as always, Nick. How about yourself?
So far, so good, as he said. And if I was not doing well, no one would want to hear it anyway. That's what I was always kind of told growing up. So,
or as my mother would say, fake it till you make it.
I kind of like that one too. I think I can use that one for sure. So, well, are you ready for October? Because it's here, whether you're ready or not. So.
I am ready for Techtober. That's what I'm ready for.
Well,
okay, that's my name for October.
Well, in the spirit of October and the fall and that sort of thing, you think about foods and beverages that kind of tie in with this time of year, and really it's all pumpkin flavored things, right?
I enjoy pumpkin pie, and that's about the limit of what I enjoy that's pumpkin flavored.
So you're not a big fan? So you may not like playing along with this one, but I went to ChatGPT earlier, wanted to find out what it thought the 3 most popular pumpkin foods or beverages are this time of year in the fall. So probably mentioned one of them for sure, pumpkin pie. That was number 2 on the top 3 list. Any idea what the other
pumpkin
2 might be?
Spice lattes. That's
number 1. It is. Now, have you ever tried one?
No.
I have not either, and I don't think I would enjoy that. But any idea what the third one is?
The first 2 seem to be pretty easy.
Yeah, the third one I thought was kind of difficult myself. Maybe it's popular in some households, but not for us necessarily.
So when I was at the store the other day, I noticed of all the things that they've got that are pumpkin or pumpkin spiced out, they have pumpkin spiced protein shakes. So if you want to get your protein kick on, they also had pumpkin flavored protein muffins.
Ding, 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 ding. Believe it or not.
Is it muffins?
It is. It is.
Oh, wow.
Pumpkin bread, and in parentheses it said muffins.
Well,
you are an expert at this.
I was not aiming for that. I enjoy some banana bread. I've never had pumpkin bread. I've never had a pumpkin spice latte. Again, I will maintain pumpkin pie. And maybe at some point in the past, if they've ever made like a little Debbie that was like a pumpkin cake or something, maybe I've had something of that nature. That's probably the limit.
That's about it, huh?
What I've had.
Yeah. The way I look at it, with pumpkin pie, even if you don't really like pumpkin pie, I mean, you could put enough Cool Whip on it. It's got to be great, right?
You can put enough Cool Whip and sugar in it that, somebody will enjoy it. That's interesting.
Yeah. So you did pretty good on that little quiz.
So I know we both need to go home and tell our spouses that we want some pumpkin muffins.
Yeah. And they'll say, take us to Starbucks first. Yeah.
My wife will not say that.
No. I'll be honest with you. I'm more of a Dutch Brothers person when it comes to those kind of drinks anyway. But
well, you know how much coffee I drink. I'm just all about coffee.
I hardly ever drink coffee either.
You would have to put some pumpkin spice or something in it for me to drink it.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but Cookeville now has a Dutch Brothers.
They do not have, though, the old Poets on the Square from back in my day where friends and I would go there, and I would not drink coffee, but I would get a Jones soda.
Really?
And that was my beverage of choice when...
I don't think I've ever tried one of those.
When my friends were drinking coffee at Poets.
Jones soda.
It's the old classic in glass bottles.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get them. I don't think they come any other way. I've never seen them in anything other than a glass bottle. I have no idea where, what size company it is or where they bottle it or anything of that nature.
They have a pumpkin flavor or...
They may. They actually may because they do have some different fruity flavors and things like that. I mean, there's
you some homework for next month. You'll have to check and see if we can get some over here in Woodbury at the studio.
Yeah, we'll check that out and see. Yeah. Listen, we may wind up with a pumpkin flavored soda here. I'm going to do that if I can find it.
Now I'm kind of hoping that maybe he doesn't find it. So, oh great. Well, it's going to be a fun episode today. We've got more guests than we typically do on today's show. 2 segments, but multiple guests. So later on in the program, we'll speak with a teacher from Canyon County High School, Mr. Zach Tucker, who is part of the Public Relations and Advertising program at the school. And he's going to bring some of his students from his podcast and morning announcement broadcast program who are going to talk about some of the fun things they're doing there at the school. It's a pretty neat program, so I think everybody will enjoy that for sure. But first, it's going to be talking about all things self-storage. And we're going to have Mr. Stan Vaught from Lascassas Self-Storage in Lascassas, Tennessee, joining us next. How are you doing today, Stan?
Great. Glad to be here in Woodbury.
We really appreciate you being on the program. Can't wait to learn more about you and all the things going on in Lascassas. We don't have a ton of people from Lascassas on the program, so we're really glad to have you be with us.
There's not many of us down there. We're right at the border of the service area.
That's exactly right.
So when we started it, obviously we wanted to do business with DTC, and it's worked out great for us.
Well, for those that don't know about you, introduce yourself, if you will, and kind of talk about your ties to Rutherford County.
I'm the 7th generation to live on the family farm at Milton. Daddy, granddaddy were there, and then we still got part of the original land tract that was settled in the early 1800s. So Milton, Lascassas, our roots run pretty deep. So we've been around forever. Grew up at Lascassas. My brother and I were dairy farmers for a while through high school and college. Graduated from NTSU, finally got married when I was 30. I had a neighbor friend of ours that had got us in the Jersey cattle business when we were milking cows, Mr. Jack Holbrook. And Mike and I loved the Jersey breed of cattle, but Mr. Holbrook was also an auctioneer. And so I was fascinated. I would help, when I could get away from the farm, I'd help him set up auctions. And so later on, when the farm economy did what it did in the early 80s, and I don't want to bring up bad memories for some of the listeners, but it was pretty tough in the early 80s, mid 80s. Got my real estate license and then got my auctioneer's license. And John Higgins and I have been in business together at Parks Auction Company for a little over 30 years now.
Wow.
So that's the career choice. We still farm. Terry married a girl from Murfreesboro, got 2 sons. We still live on the family farm at Milton. But kind of being in the real estate business, always looking at, I guess, opportunities or needs, maybe is a better word to use here, needs in the community.
Sure.
Whether it be some type of rental property, housing, or the warehouses. And so that's kind of a nutshell 63-year synopsis of my life. But anyway.
Well, I can imagine with such long ties to the area, that really helps in your line of work as far as, real estate and auction and that sort of thing.
Very much so. Of course, and I guess I don't mean this kind of morbid, but most of our business is estate related.
Right.
And so we're dealing with people, downsizing, maybe having to move to the nursing home, something like that.
Right.
And we're that group of people that, kind of put our arms around them and say, come on, let's get this done.
That's needed to help, though. I mean, when you're in that position, you need someone to help you.
It is. And I look back on it, and my faith's pretty strong. I'll say it that way. I'm not going to get into preaching or anything, but you always wonder, what God has in store for you in your life, what you're supposed to do. All I ever wanted to do was farm, milk cows, but, the financial crisis didn't allow us to do that. But he pushed me over into this business, and, it's been a blessing. I feel very honored to help people. I was with a 96-year-old woman on Thursday who got to sell her house in Murfreesboro. She's moved to Adams Place and realized that, she doesn't need a 2,600 square foot ranch style brick home any longer.
Right.
So, it's an honor to walk with those people through life. And, that kind of leads into a little bit about the mini storage. What we're here to talk about, but we saw a need, Terry and I did several years ago, that as Murfreesboro continued to grow and push out toward the Lascassas, Walter Hill, Milton communities, that there was a need, to store. People needed a place to put their stuff. I'm not going to call it junk. I'm going to call it stuff, merchandise.
Everyone has more and more stuff.
We do
days,
as a society, and kind of if you follow us with our online auction business, we're going to be close to 200 online auctions this year.
Oh wow!
At Parks Auction, I came here to talk about Lascassas storage, but I can't help but talk about
Well,
Parks
they kind of
Auction.
go together.
Well,
yeah.
it does,
Yeah.
and if it makes sense to the listeners. There's always that intermediate need that somebody's either had a child move back home, after college temporarily. Right. They need some place to put the stuff. The husband that gets into the fishing boat business, lawn care business or something, and he takes over his wife's parking spot in the garage. Those guys call.
He needs help. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. He needs a place to put his stuff.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of people that rent from us, and they store their Harley Davidsons in them.
Oh yeah.
And because they don't want them scratched up in the garage, they get them out once a month or something like that. And
right.
and so it's been amazing to us the needs that people have and what they really put in them.
Yeah.
So it's
how
been,
people use them.
and really how people use them. Yeah. It's kind of been neat.
Well, kind of describe the Lascassas self-storage as far as like how it's made up, the different size of storage units that you have, and just kind of the layout of it, I guess. Yeah,
we had the engineering firm Huddleston Steel out of Murfreesboro help me work through it, and of course we consulted with some other small business owners around here. Of course, Jimmy Higgins has been in the business here in Woodbury for years.
Yep.
And we talked to several guys that I trusted, and we came up with a makeup. We thought being in a rural area, our sizes need to be a little bit bigger. If you go to Murfreesboro, there's a lot of 5x5 units, 5x10, kind of put your Christmas tree in there or a mattress or
smaller
something.
units.
Yeah, and all of ours, our smallest are 10x10. That's basically half a garage, and then we 10x20s and 10x15s. And so everything's kind of on that either half garage, 3/4 of a garage, or a full garage.
That's a good way of looking at it, though. Yeah.
Then we've got I think 18 units that are covered storage for boats, RVs.
Now that's handy too.
Oh, that's been probably if I had to do over again, I'd build more of those.
More of that, yeah.
They were full in 3 weeks.
Wow.
And it took almost a year to fill up the rest of the units. Yes, it's mostly campers, and that's another odd thing about our society is that the homes have gotten larger, lots have gotten smaller, so there's not a place to park, and a lot of subdivisions in Murfreesboro now have the dreaded HOA. I'm going to kind of make fun of that a little bit.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit too, because I'm sure that has an effect on your business in some ways. In a good way, probably.
In a good way, you can't park that camper in the driveway anymore, so they come see us. And then we've got, I think, a dozen just parking spots. And on the front of the property, we maintained the residence that was there. Converted the zoning to it. Right now, there's a barbecue joint there.
Oh, how convenient.
Well, we've had an antique store there, and we've had a gift shop there, and now we've got a barbecue restaurant there.
If someone wanted to acquire a storage unit, is that normally like a long-term lease, or can they do like a month-to-month, or how do you normally decide that?
Good question. It's a month-to-month. We originally thought, because we've got some residential houses that we rent, we thought, well, they'll rent them for 12 months. No. I mean, people call up and, they'll need something for 30 days, 60 days, 3 months, seasonal, maybe.
Right.
And, then they're gone. But a lot of times if they get there, our prices are extremely competitive. We're I hate to say this, we're probably the cheapest storage units in Rutherford County right now. And so we stay full pretty much. I mean, there's a turnover every month. There's probably, we have about 250 units. And I think there's probably 10 to 15 turnover every month.
Wow.
That's just the nature of the business.
Right.
But we've had some long-term relationships. We got some families that have been with us since we opened the gate.
Yeah.
they've stayed with us the whole
kind
time.
of a mix then,
Yeah,
so to speak.
a little bit. So it's really been an interesting business to watch from the inside out as opposed to the outside in.
One thing I think that's probably helped your business too a lot is the location. You're so easy to get to right off Highway 96 there. And like you were just mentioning, there are a lot of HOA style subdivisions near your location. And I'm sure that probably drove quite a bit of business your way too. So.
It does. And being in the auction business, this has kind of been an interesting part of it, is we have taken 10 of the units and we have a monthly personal property auction there.
Oh, okay.
And so my manager, Anita Hinesley, she runs that and loves it, loves dealing with the people. So we kind of give people an out, if they really don't need to rent a whole unit, hey, if you got a few things you need to sell, we'll just sell them in the auction. And so it runs parallel with the Parks auction.
Now that's
company.
Convenient. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it really is.
It's really, and I say, dumb, blind luck, really, we just kind of fell into
I think
this.
it's resourceful. That's what I think it is. Yeah.
We try or strive to stay in tune with our neighbors and friends and listen.
Yeah.
Not tell. And so the mini warehouse business storage facility, it's kind of been that. We've listened,
right.
What people need.
Most good business owners, I think, if you ask them, one of the keys to their success is exactly what you just said. It's just the ability to listen to your customers and try to match that with a need.
Yeah. Well, and I'm gonna brag on DTC right now just a little bit. You and I was sharing you the history of the gentleman that had the telephone business there in Milton.
Yeah.
He went out, I think there was a ice storm back in the 40s, and he wasn't able to rebuild the lines, and that was kind of DTC, DeKalb telephone. At the time, they came in and provided phone service. My grandparents had a party line back in the 60s, can remember that, still remember their phone number. And so when we started the storage facility, we were right on the end of the line, and they said, are you sure you want to go with DTC? Because, we could have done wireless through Verizon or somebody like that. And I said, oh no, I know my folks.
Oh, we really appreciate that.
No, and it's serious, and they have been very. The girls here have been very suggestive to us, and guided Anita and I through the whole process. I'll tell you a little side story right here. When we got ready to put the security system in, my builder had advised me to use this guy out of Nashville. And so I had DTC come in. Y'all give me a price, and that guy gave me a price. And that guy was $2,000 higher. But I took my builder's advice, and I went with him. Well, we had nothing but trouble for a year. And I called, and he had the audacity, and to not keep everybody in suspense or anything, but explain what had happened. They didn't ground it. They didn't drive rods in the ground to ground the system. So every time we had a thunderstorm,
lightning issues,
we'd have a camera go out.
Yeah.
And those cameras were $1,200 a piece or something like that. And they were coming every month. I said, something's got to give, and we had 2 or 3 come to Jesus meetings, as I'd say. And he had the audacity to tell me, well, Mr. Vault, you just got one of those sites that's not good. You're just always going to have trouble. I ran him off. I'm going to put it lightly right there. Anybody that's been in that kind of situation with somebody that's tried to pull your leg.
You'd had enough, I guess.
I'd had enough.
Yeah.
And so I called the guy back from DTC that had originally done it, and he came down and looked at it, and he said, I'll tell you what's wrong. He said he grounded them on the buildings, but he's assumed that the concrete was grounded enough to take care of it. So they drove 4 rods in the ground, 20 feet long. I hadn't had a minute's trouble out of it in 6 years now.
That's great. That's a great little testimony.
Well,
there.
it is.
We
I mean, you
appreciate
got we the co-op, and I feel like I'm a part of DTC.
You are.
Just like the Farmers Co-op, Farm Bureau. Daddy. Again, I go back to my farming roots. Anytime you can put a cooperative effort together,
right?
I think it's a benefit for all the neighbors.
Sure.
It's just you have a like-minded reason to do it. It's kind of the same thing with church a little bit. You kind of go to church with people you get along with.
Right.
get your phone service from people you get along with, security service, whatever it is. But
we're not only business partners together, but like you said, we're friends and neighbors and relatives sometimes too. So we want everybody happy. So
we're too big into it, I guess. We have our internet service down there, and
that's great.
The guy that rents the restaurant, we provide his internet service, his phone service for him. Terry and I have it at the house. Lord have mercy, we have cable, we have the streaming, we have a security system at the house. After we put the one in at the warehouses, she decided, she wanted one there at the house, and we've got 6-7 cameras, and when we periodically travel, and that's not a lot. Jackson, our oldest son, lives in New York, so we go to see him periodically, and when we're away from home, man, that is so easy.
That's nice to have.
To pull those cameras up, and I can pull the cameras up at the warehouse too. I think we've got 24 at the warehouse.
That's great.
And 8 at the house.
You probably need that though with the size of
we do with the
you're...
angles and stuff, and we haven't had a lot of theft or anything like that, but when we have, we've been able to go back to the cameras and isolate who did what. And it's been interesting because, believe it or not, people will not tell you the whole truth sometimes.
Really? That's surprising.
But when you show them the tape,
it's a game changer.
It's a little bit hard to deny that.
Yeah, the video doesn't lie, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's kind of bad. People may think bad about me, but we have a responsibility to protect our customers.
Exactly. How do you decide what size storage you need? Do you have any way of figuring that out, or any online tools or anything?
There's some online tools you can use. I think we've got them tied to our site. People call and tell us what they got, and generally with us now, it's just whatever we've got available. But, if you're downsizing a little bit, and we've had people do this, they'll call us up and they've moved from a 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom condo. They'll move all their furniture up to a 10 by 30, and then we'll sell it in the online auction, over a couple of 3 months. So we've met a lot of good people through the business, and John Higgins and I, we got to thinking about it. We do about 500 auctions a year through the auction company, and then a couple of hundred online. And so over, 35, 38 years now being in business, and now the warehouses, we've come in contact with so many good people. We always see the bad. The news is always covered up with the bad, or that's what the headlines are. There are so many good people that live, in I'm going to say eastern Rutherford County, Cannon, not that there's not good people on the west side, but we're not as, and we've got a lot of good friends out at Eagleville too. Don't want to leave that bunch out, But it's kind of the rural people, and I think that's what's made Tennessee probably grow so much in the last 10 years.
Well, if someone's been listening and you've sparked their interest, and they want to contact you about a possible storage unit or somewhere to park that special trailer or Harley or boat or whatever, what's the best way to contact you or learn more?
Well, we're online just like everybody else, Lascassas selfstorage.com. Anita, as I said, she manages the day-to-day thing. The phone number, 615-273-STORE, STOR.
Very clever.
Yes, DTC worked with me
marketing.
on that.
Yeah.
Yes. But, we'd love, if we can help somebody, we'd love to do that.
Well, we appreciate it. And Stan, thank you for being on the program. And wish you nothing but the best of success in the future there in Lascassas. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. My pleasure.
Everybody stay tuned. We've got more of the program coming up in just a moment.
Do you know what room the router's in? I can't get onto my Zoom meeting.
Try it in our spacious new family room.
Okay. Still not working.
Try it in our beautiful backyard.
Still nothing!
Your new home checked everything off your list, except for internet from DTC.
Oh! Come on!
Sign up at dtccom.net for fast and reliable internet.
Ooh, I'll get it. Grandpa!
Hey.
Want to play my new game with me?
Oh, sure. I'd love to.
Let's go. I got you. Give me it. No.
I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna catch you this time. Oh,
Sharing memories while staying connected. DTC Internet makes it all possible.
Time now to hand the microphone over to Justin, as we do each and every month. Justin's Tech Tips.
Most of us utilize location access on our devices. And so maybe we don't think about location too much, but when you open up Google Maps or Waze or Apple Maps and you go to find that destination and what the best route to get there is, guess what that app is doing?
Tracking you.
It is tracking you. It is coordinating
Which
your
it has
location.
to, right? In order for
it
the
has to. Yes,
feature to
yes.
work.
And,
so.
yeah, and that's its intended use, right?
Yeah.
This is one that's an obvious one that everybody thinks about, and so it utilizes in the United States. It's utilizing GPS service, but I can guarantee you, your phone can actually utilize more than just GPS, whether you realize it or not.
Even if you didn't know it, right?
Yes. But we need to utilize it. We utilize it a ton, and it is very helpful. But there are some trade-offs when we allow access to it, including privacy trade-offs. And so I'm just going to talk about quickly some of the pros and some of the cons. And if you're curious what's accessing your location, how are you able to check that and see? Because you're in control of what accesses your location and doesn't access your location. So the first thing is, and I've already used the example, navigation, right? We use navigation all the time. That's probably number one for most people.
Very helpful.
For me, as soon as I hop in the vehicle, when I come to work, when I go back home, you know what I'm going to do? I know how to get home, but I'm going to load up Maps and I'm going to click it. Actually, it's probably because of
Waze, maybe? You use Waze?
I use Apple Maps.
Okay.
So I use Apple Maps. I use the built-in app. Waze does provide more functionality, but for certain reasons, I stick to Apple Maps. But I say I load it up. It actually tells me, hey, here's your shortcut through AI. It's like, hey, we know you're about to go home. Here, let's go ahead and recommend this to you. So I actually don't have to load it up. I click it and it'll pull up itself. I do that because I want to know the most efficient route. Is there going to be traffic somewhere? Is there an accident somewhere? Right? These are all things that are great. I know how to get from my home to work. I've done it for years. But
are you saying that sometimes I-40 near Gordonsville has traffic issues?
Per capita has to be one of the most accident-prone locations in the United States.
Unfortunately, yes.
I think you're right. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
But some other things that you may utilize it for, if you decide to go to maybe a city to go shopping, you're like, hey, let's get something to eat. Well, what's close around me? What can you do? You can pull up and say, using your AI assistant that's built into your smart device, or using one of those map apps and say, let me find restaurants near me. Mm-hmm. It's going to use your location and it's going to find a restaurant for you or a store for you, or even events. There's all kinds of things that can be suggested now that, hey, there's an event going on nearby. Maybe it would interest you. Safety features. So for the one time, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years ago, that I accidentally did an emergency SOS, and it worked. It worked great because my wife and my dad both were panicking, trying to get a hold of me, wanting to know what had happened because they had gotten the emergency notification.
Oh, wow.
With my GPS location.
Yeah.
So it had sent the location and alerted them that I was in trouble. I was just mowing my lawn when I did it, so I didn't realize I'd done it.
Actually, he was in trouble once they figured out that he wasn't really in trouble. I think so.
So you've got location sharing for things of that nature, right? And so car crash detection is built into devices now.
Yeah.
Or you're out hiking on the Appalachian Trail or in the middle of nowhere and you get into trouble, right? You can notify and say, hey, I need help. And it'll send those GPS coordinates and alert emergency authorities or your next of kin. Or if you're like me, I now have a child who is getting a little bit older, who is asking for permission to go visit neighbors and friends. But we've got several neighbors around us, and we have all of us have kids, and they basically live at each other's houses and are all over the place. well, I can use a smartwatch and I can track and see, oh, this is the house that he's at, or he's moved over here.
That's really nice.
I don't have to wonder which house is he at. And so, hey, it's 7:00 at night, he needs to come home. Oh, well, I know he's at this house, so I'm going to message mom and dad over there and say, hey, will you please send Jonah home?
Yeah.
You know, it's time for supper, time to get ready for bed, those kind of things.
Right.
So, you know, or this is going to shock you, finding lost devices.
They made this feature for you specifically,
yes,
I think.
You know,
possibly.
I, again, probably have more AirTags than anybody else that I know attached to everything. My keys, my wallet.
You've got to give me a little credit when it comes to this, because I may or may not have suggested him using an AirTag on his work ID badge.
You did suggest it, so I bought a lanyard with that I could place an AirTag in. But I need to change the battery.
And it has helped, though, in all honesty.
Yes. Well, again, the location tracking, if I leave it somewhere, it pops up and says, hey, you've left this.
It's been left behind.
I've left my wallet at work before, and I get about quarter mile up the road and it says, hey, you left your wallet back there.
Yeah.
And so, especially that's happened on a Friday. I'm like, well, I really need my wallet for the weekend, so I've got to go back and get it. You know,
I think that technology is awesome, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are, so many uses. There's personalization uses like weather, right? That's probably one that's very common is what's the weather? Well, we have left the office in Alexandria and we've come to Woodbury. So if I look at my weather right now, I have location access turned on. It's going to tell me what the local weather is here. So there's so many great uses for location access, right? These are all the good things, but there are some potential negatives and cons of it. And the first one is that apps can track you, right? So you are trusting, when you enable location access, you are entrusting whoever that app developer is that they're going to use your data wisely. Now, we have learned throughout the years that oftentimes that data is used in what some people may say were unscrupulous ways, or they didn't realize that their location was being sold to somebody and their location patterns were being sold. And the issue with this is, if you don't trust who you've given access to, well, they know where you work. Mm-hmm. They know where your home is. Not only do they know where, they know when you are at home. They know when you were at work.
They know your likely patterns of life.
Listen, they probably know where you go to shop. They know where you go to church, and some people may not care, but there may be some people like, I don't want them to know every little thing that I do.
Sure.
And so that's something that you've got to consider. You've also got to consider the more things that are using location access. That's a background task that's running on your device, which means it's utilizing system resources, which means your battery's going to drain faster. Locations are used for targeted ads too. You get somewhere and you search for something like, well, why is this popping up? It knows you are in this city right now. It's like, those are all considerations you've got to give. But the biggest thing is you're trusting whoever the app developer is with your location information, and you can read their privacy practices. All these companies have to have privacy policies by law. Sure. Or you can go into the Google Play Store, you can go into the Apple App Store, and you can look and see, and it will tell you, yes, we're using this for specific reasons. So, is it being used to track you? Is it using to provide a service? What's it being used for? They've got to disclose that now because of the privacy concerns that have been raised over the years. But no matter what device you're on, if you're on an iOS device, under settings and privacy and security, you will find location services. You can review everything from system stuff to apps. You can review it all to see exactly what is being used. Android, it's even simpler. It's settings and then location. You've only got one click once you get in settings on Android. Again, you can do the same thing. And I would suggest for anyone that you go through and you review that list to see what have you given location access to and how often are you giving it location access. Are you giving it access all the time or just when you need it?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, and
that's a good point too.
To each their own, that you have to make that decision. What's right for you, and what are you comfortable with? So I just suggest periodically reviewing that. So that app 2 years ago that you installed, that you used one time and you gave it permission to track you all the time, has still been tracking you for 2 years and you haven't been utilizing it, probably want to know that, right? So got to balance convenience, with those privacy concerns.
True.
So they're powerful. Location services are powerful and they provide some great tools, but ultimately as the user, we're in control of what we allow to access that data. There is nothing on any of your devices that can access your location unless you tell it it's okay.
And for this segment of the Local Click, we have a very special guest who came to visit us all the way from Cannon County High School, and that's Mr. Zach Tucker with the program there. Hello, Zach. How are you today?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
We really appreciate you being on our podcast, and I know you have your own podcast at the school as well as I think a live morning announcements program. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Before we get into that, tell us about your involvement with Cannon County High School, kind of what your main part of the program and being there at the school is.
So I'm one of the business and marketing teachers at Cannon County High School. The courses I teach are Marketing 1, which is primarily sophomores.
Okay.
And then I teach a retail operations class for the upperclassmen, primarily seniors, but we do have a few juniors in there. And that's the third level class in the business and marketing pathway. And then I also have the class that we'll be talking about today mostly is the public relations and advertising class. That's also a third level class. So in order to take the class, they need intro to business and then Marketing 1.
Talk about the program as far as the two specific media related programs. First, let's talk on the morning announcements, because I think that's a pretty neat thing that you guys do. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. So every morning we go live at 7:55 on our live YouTube channel. And we have two anchors that sit at the news desk and they read off the teleprompter, and teachers and faculty can add morning announcements they want to sprinkle in daily. And we just add them, edit them, and just go live. And
wow.
We have some in the backgrounds working the camera and all the tech and making sure the audio is good to go and the video. And they also can create little mini clips for transitions on some programs and then plug them into our video editor and just swap the scenes as we go live.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great experience for the students, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And we added a weather segment recently as well. So rather than just using one camera, we're panning back and forth between two cameras.
So do you guys have like a studio there built into the high school to shoot this at?
We do. We have a carpeted room, one of the only carpeted rooms in the entire school. We have green screen backgrounds, one for the weather area and one for the news desk. And we have multiple cameras. We also use a camera remotely where we'll do segments where we interview students and faculty in the hallways. So
that's neat.
Yeah. And that portion we'll edit it, pre-record, and then we'll just load it onto the production for the live and just usually play it at the end of our live segment.
It teaches the students a lot of skills, not just about live video production, but also about pre-production and filming segments and scripting and having a show synopsis or rundown. I mean, it's a lot of planning. It goes in that sort of thing.
It is. You're live for 4 to 5 minutes, but there's an hour of planning typically through the week. So
I don't think a lot of people realize how much pre-production you have to do just to get 5 minutes of live program.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we do some live and some pre-recorded, so you get to see the big differences and the planning, and just when you're live, you're live.
Yeah.
You mess up, that's it. Yeah.
That's great experience for the students, isn't it? To kind of get used to, I won't say the stress or pressure of it, but there is a little bit of pressure when you're live and there's no do-overs and that sort of thing. So
right. I also think that if you know that you can edit it later, you may act different. So I feel like these students in particular, they're on it when it's live. They know that it's crunch time.
They know whatever happens. Yeah. So try to do your best, right?
Yeah, very blessed to have 4 exceptional students in the first period program.
That's great. And then in addition to the morning announcements that you do every school day, you also have a podcast, if I understand correctly. Is that right?
We do. We have a really, really fun podcast that we record. Typically we record on Tuesday and we do editing throughout the rest of the week, and we release each episode on Fridays. The name of the podcast is The List. And basically we debate over topics like the best sitcom of all time or the best breakfast cereal. And what we all do is take turns giving some recommendations that should be on a top 5 list. And then we all come up with a bunch, we debate them, and then we get to cut ones that we don't think are list worthy. And that's where a lot of the fun and debate comes in. And then after that, we don't decide ourselves. We actually put a poll out to the faculty and staff, and they vote on the ones that make the top 10.
Oh, I like that.
And then on the next episode, we reveal who the winner was. Yeah. So
that sounds fun.
It is.
I'm sure the students enjoy that.
Absolutely.
Even the teachers probably enjoy that. So
yeah, I get a lot of response. I sent out an email right before the release, and they're voting right away.
And so can anyone listen that's listening to our podcast or watching our podcast, can they also listen to your podcast?
Yeah, so if you go on Spotify and just search The List, it'll be there. It's a red background, and we've got 7 episodes so far this season, and our 8th episode will be recording tomorrow.
Wow, that's great. Well, I'm going to check that out myself. I can't wait to listen to that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, tomorrow's topic is Halloween candy.
Oh, it's perfect timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I felt like I might could have added a little insight to this. Not that I've ever eaten any Halloween candy, but
right,
maybe a little.
I can't wait to see what they say about candy corn.
Yeah, that's pretty divisive for some people. That may get risque, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Zach, thanks for being on the program. We'll talk again here in just a moment. But before we do, I'd like to introduce some of the students that you were just talking about onto the show and let them introduce themselves, and we'll kind of get to know them a little bit. And now we're going to speak to our first couple of students from Cannon County High School who are a part of this program. And if you will, we'll start on this side. Introduce yourself and tell us what grade you're in.
My name is Addie Banahaski, and I'm in 12th grade.
Awesome. And you?
I'm a junior, and my name is Michael Tremont.
Awesome. And what are some things that you get to help with in the program? We'll start here.
I do weather, and sometimes I edit some of the podcasts, which I think is really fun, as well as I get to participate in some of them.
Okay.
I'd say the podcasts are some of my favorite things we get to do in there.
That's great. That's great. Now, is weather always been kind of an interest of yours before this, or is this something you kind of took on new?
It's actually funny. When I was a kid, the Weather Channel used to be my favorite, and I never really thought about it until I started this class this year, because this is my first time taking a class like this. And then we added the weather segment, and it's really fun. I enjoy it a lot.
I assume you have like a green screen that you stand in front of and do the weather?
Yeah, there's a lot of green screens in the classroom, and there's a lot of lights. Those are the only complaints I have about it, is the big lights in your eyes.
Gets kind of bright, right?
It does, especially with glasses. There's a big glare and
That's
all
true.
that.
That's true. It's something a lot of people don't probably think about from a production standpoint.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. What about you? What are some of the things you get to help with?
I mainly just am behind the camera. I kind of help with the SD card, make sure everything's uploaded correctly, and make sure I edit the podcast. And when we do the segments, I'm probably going to be the one carrying the camera around, doing everything.
So you're kind of the production part of the behind the scenes, kind of the technology, making it all happen, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Does that sound right? Do you enjoy that?
I quite enjoy it. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Have you learned new skills?
The main thing I've learned is mainly the editing part.
Is it nice having access to some of the technology there at school?
Very fun. I quite enjoy it. I think it's very useful, especially nowadays, everything being with technology-wise. It could be used pretty much everything.
Yeah,
so.
I think you might be surprised where you'll use some of these skills later. If you had to pick a favorite part of the program, what would you say is your favorite part?
I would definitely say participating in the podcast, because the debates are really funny sometimes, especially when it's random topics. Like the music topic we just did, there was a lot of like funny arguments there.
So it's entertaining, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. How about you? What's your favorite part?
Gonna have to go with the podcast. I quite enjoy it, especially when it's something that I quite like the music part and the sitcoms. I had the Andy Griffith Show, which I quite enjoyed. So,
well, luckily, I'm sure it doesn't get opinionated at all, right?
Sometimes.
But that makes it fun, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you ever get to learn new things about people that you never would have dreamed, like some of their interest and hobbies and stuff from doing this podcast?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't have social media, so their answer's going to be a little different than mine.
Yeah. So. What about you? Do you find you learn new things about people sometimes?
Honestly, I'd say so. Mainly just because I don't talk to that many people, but also like doing podcasts and stuff. It's fun to learn about other people's interests and hobbies, especially because you don't know a lot about them. You might have a class with them. You don't know stuff about them.
That's true. Sometimes you find out you've got a lot more in common with the people you're around every day than you ever really realized. So
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, do you have any plans yet for after high school? Kind of what maybe your future plans might be?
Yes, I actually want to be a nail technician.
Okay.
I'm really excited. I love the creativity in it, and I love the artwork that people do. And plus, there's a lot of people, especially now, that don't have a lot of money to get like a luxury thing done for themselves. And I really want to be able to give them that without them having to pay like $200 for a nail set. Because there's a lot of people that deserve to feel good about themselves, and they just don't have the funds to do so.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Who knows? Maybe you'll do a nail podcast or something one day in your future career.
Hey, maybe.
You never know. You never know. What about you?
I'm not 100% positive yet, but I'm probably going to get a major in music and then a minor in business.
Okay, great. Great. Well, there's definitely a lot of places where some of this technology could help with both of those. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your school day to come visit our podcast. And we wish you all the best in your future episodes. And now we have two more guests from Cannon County High School joining us. And if you will, introduce yourself and tell us what grade you're in. We'll start on this side.
I'm Hannah Simpson, and I'm in 11th grade.
Okay. And you?
I'm Abby Cook, and I'm a junior.
Great, great. What are some of the things that you get to help with in the program?
I do mainly the morning announcements, and I'm on some of the podcasts.
Okay, so you're actually on air then. You're kind of the on-air talent, right?
Yes,
okay.
Me and her both.
Okay, and so you do that as well?
Yes.
Okay. And how has that been? Has that been a hard adjustment, getting used to having the camera looking at you and talking to everybody, or has it been fairly easy?
Not really. It's not really like any different. It just feels like you're just talking to yourself.
Yeah.
You're just reading it.
Do you have to kind of imagine that there's all these people watching, or you just kind of ignore it?
I just ignore it. I just read it off and you're good.
Yeah. That's great. What about you? How have you found the being on camera part to be?
I like it. I mean, I grew up like performing in front of like audiences and stuff. So like being live on like a camera is no different to me.
Oh, okay. So you kind of feel at home in front of the camera already then. So that's good. That's good. What's your very favorite part about the program? I know that's sometimes hard to narrow down to one thing, but what would you say is your favorite part?
Arguing with Michael.
Well, that's good. Sometimes you have to set people straight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. Do you always win?
No.
Okay, that's okay. Well, at least you're honest about it.
No, not at all.
What about you?
I like doing like the morning announcements. I think it's fun. And I also like filming the segments. We've done a few like practice segments just to like understand like what we're doing and like how it's gonna like work and stuff. And that's fun. I like being able to like talk to people and like getting to like see people. Like interviewing them and things like that. Okay, so you get to go out, get out of the studio environment, the real I won't say sterile environment, but you know what I mean. There's all the lights and cameras and everything, right? And actually hit the field and get in front of people's faces with a microphone and get to speak with them, right? Yes. Yes.
Do you have any plans for anything you'd like to do once you get out of high school?
Once I graduate high school, I'm planning on going to be like a hairstylist.
Oh, okay. Great. Who knows? Maybe you'll be do hair and makeup for people on television or on podcasts.
Yeah. I would hope.
It could happen. You never know. You'll have good background in that if you do.
Yes.
What about you? Do you have any plans yet?
I want to major in theater and then probably minor in business.
Oh, great. Great. Well, this will really tie in with that. I mean, you'll have a lot of on-camera experience as far as talking in front of people and that sort of thing. So that's got to be helpful. So
it is.
That's great. Well, thank you so much both for joining me on the podcast. And I wish you guys all the success in your podcast. Wow, that's really great. I've enjoyed getting to meet some of your great students who are helping with the program. Sounds like you're a very lucky teacher to have these 4 special students who want to make the program so good.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, I'm blessed with these 4. They're go-getters for sure.
They are. And sounds like they're really learning some skills, some production skills that hopefully they can use later in life too. So if someone wants to listen to the podcast, I know you mentioned earlier, it's called The List, and they can find that anywhere they probably listen to their podcast, such as Spotify and those sorts of places. But I think you also have a YouTube channel that you publish the live morning announcements to. Is that right?
The YouTube channel, if you just look up CCHS Productions, it'll pop up. Then you just tab over to the live feed and you can see the live as it's being aired. And if you sign up for notifications right when we go live, you'll get that notification.
That's great.
But we do go live every morning at 7:55 a.m. Also, we use that same feed for homecoming things, graduation every year. So all of the CCHS productions are on that same channel.
So basically, any of the video streaming or uploads of video projects, if they want to follow you at CCHS Productions, they can catch all of that information.
Exactly.
That's great. Well, Zach, you're doing a fantastic job. I'm really glad to see you doing such great things at Cannon County High School, and good luck on everything. And thanks for being on our podcast to talk about your podcast.
And thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
And come back and see us sometime, and you can fill us in on all the new things going on throughout the school year.
Absolutely.
All right.
Will do.
Everybody stay tuned. We got more of the program coming up in just a minute.
Great communities attract talented people to live, work, and raise their families. We've deployed a high-speed network that helps the best and the brightest enjoy better lives in our smart rural community. Great small businesses provide jobs that help workers earn a good living and provide for their families while strengthening local economies. We deploy fiber internet that helps those businesses succeed. Great doctor and patient relationships create bonds that lead to healthier lives. We deliver secure connections so every home and rural healthcare provider can connect to the best healthcare options. Great schools help knowledge-hungry students learn, think creatively, and follow their passions. We've built the network that helps their dreams take off. Great farmers provide the food that sustains and nourishes our nation and the world. We keep those farmers connected to the technology that ensures their crops can thrive. We've planned, engineered, and constructed a cutting-edge communications network. We're committed to delivering future-proof broadband, so our friends, families, and neighbors can live rich lives in smart rural communities across America. Your community is our community. We're your rural broadband partners. You do great things. We make great things possible.
And to Justin we go once more today in this program for his part of the show we call Tech News Roundup.
This month, Google, they announced the Google Pixel 10 series. So you got the Google Pixel 10, the 10 Pro, and so they've got all of their new devices. They've got their new Tensor chip that's in there, their G5 chip, which is very interesting for them because Google has been very dependent with their artificial intelligence services, which I'll say this, their artificial intelligence services are very robust, but they've been very dependent upon cloud utilization to be able to run those tasks. And the thing is, this chip allows them to do more on-device AI processing. So in the previous segment with location, we talked about privacy concerns. Again, that's a privacy concern within the artificial intelligence space. If something is leaving your device and going somewhere else, somebody else has access to it. And so Google is touting the ability for it to be more on device because that is more private for individuals. It's not leaving your device, so you don't have to worry about it. They have a new thing called Magic Q as a result of it. And again, it's one of their new artificial intelligence that runs on the device. It's not going through the cloud service. And really for Google, it benefits them too because they're not having to use their own infrastructure and their own databases and processing to be able to do that. So it really, really helps them. They've announced some other things as well with that, but for time's sake, we'll move on to Samsung. I know you were probably thinking Apple was next, but
you kind of thought it might be, but yeah.
So Samsung announced the S25 FE, and they launched it alongside the Gateway to Galaxy AI competition. And so they are, again, announcing another S25 device, again, pushing AI and AI integration. And so those things have come out in the middle of September. These things have come out. So now Apple. So Apple, who traditionally has always done their stuff in September, unveils their whole new suite of iPhones. And so we're on iPhone 17 now. So they did not change the naming of the iPhones. They did for their other software, which I like because it is now named after the year. So it's iOS 26 and macOS 26 that correlates to, I guess, the year that's upcoming. But again, shifting away from that, and it unifies their naming scheme.
Sure.
They didn't do it with the iPhone, though. Still the iPhone 17. iPhone 17 launched. They did their traditional iPhone 17 and 17 Pros, and they've got their Maxes. But they also introduced the iPhone 17 Air, which is a 6 millimeter thin smartphone, which is one of the smallest smartphones on the market. And it is the smallest mainstream smartphone at only 6 millimeters thick. So pretty interesting what they've done there. They did announce some new AirPods and some other things of that nature as well. But I'd be remiss not to mention the iPhone. It's the best-selling device in the United States, electronic-wise.
Sure.
Each year. So Apple leads the game in that. But there's a lot of choice, whether you're an Android fan or even an Apple fan. The fact that they announced 5 new phones, 5 new phone models, that's unusual for Apple to have that much variety in what you're able to pick. Even they understand that consumers want some different options and some different picks as well. One big thing that is coming up in October that I feel I need to mention while you're listening to this episode, from the date that this episode launches, you will have 13 days until Windows 10 support officially ends. So, as of now, they are still estimating around 400 million PCs are going to be affected by this. Now, I'm sure a lot of those individuals have probably figured out what their solution is. And so you've got a few different solutions. You can upgrade to Windows 11. You may need to buy a new machine. Listen, I'll even throw this out there. You can switch to a different operating system. So if you're running a PC, you've got some Linux distributions out there that you could switch to as well if you really wanted to. There is also the ability to go to Windows long-term support, but you've got to be running a version of Windows typically, or you may have to pay for it. And Microsoft has actually given the option, if you want to continue receiving support, you can pay $61 for a year to get more support. That wraps us up for this month's Tech News Roundup.
All right. But now we're going to shift gears for just a moment, and we're going to talk about all the exciting things that DTC will be involved with for the month of October in our segment called What's Up DTC. And we're going to start off with an event on Friday, October the 3rd, which will be the DeKalb Senior Health Fair, which will be at Family Medical Center in Smithville. And that will be from 9 a.m. in the morning until noon. Then on that same day at DeKalb County High School, DTC will be involved with the Career Day event that will be going on there. So on Friday, October the 10th, we will be at the Cannon County Health Fair at the Cannon County Senior Center. And then later on in October, on Saturday, October the 25th, you can find us at Fright at the Fairgrounds. That sounds fun. That'll be at the DeKalb County Fairgrounds in Alexandria from 5 to 7 p.m. On Friday, October the 31st, we have 2 events for Halloween that we'll be at. The first one being the Smithville Boo Bash from 2 to 5 p.m., and the last one being the Gordonsville City Festival, which will be from 5 to 8 p.m. So we hope that if you're going to be at any of these events, you will stop by and say hi to us. And I think that's going to be a wrap for the month of October. Great job, Justin. As always, we appreciate all the information that you always share with us. And also want to thank our great guests for this month, too. It's been a fun show.
We've got a bright future for some of these young people, and it's great to see the interest that they have in this field. And it's going to be interesting to see how they blossom in their futures.
That's true. That's true. So on behalf of everyone here at DTC, we'd like to wish you all a happy October, and we will see you next month.
Learn more about the show by visiting us online at thelocalclick.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast or video platform so you won't miss our next episode of The Local Click. See you next month.